said it many times, and I will continue to say it, but we need a doll plush. And the reason why we should get this? Well, all the keychains so far have become plushies, except doll. And I guess doll could fit in the plush category where the end dog was, unless they want to make a Sin or Jay, Bunny, or Fox plush.
Which of these characters appeared in every single episode? It's doll.
What? Why would a worker drone watchiiiing? You said this camp would help us catch that red-eyed doll phrase. You tells me you shouldn't have an involved doll. What's happening to her?
I swear I'm not a hater! Hello everybody, my name is Surmi, and yes, I do stand by what the topic of this video is. Doll from Murder Drones should not get a plush. Glitch Productions so far has ended their show directed by Liam Vickers. Glitch Productions so far has ended their show directed by Liam Vickers, though they're still making merchandise for the show. We gotta keep that fandom going one way or another. This leads fans into a frenzy of trying to guess what the company is cooking up, a common thing being merchandise of the doll plush. Now, if my dementia does not affect me as a person, the doll plush was first brought up as a prediction from Cosmo X Clouds, a fellow Murder Drones YouTuber that I don't really interact with a lot, but go show her a lot of love. She does cool edits and stuff. She does cool stuff. Ever since this, she's tried guessing that the doll plush would soon arrive, and it never really did. However, if you've seen this plush as a reference, this is from Amazon, which is famously known for their rip-offs. We Glitch viewers do not want to purchase from Amazon or Shein, or whatever piracy websites they have for these plushies, but we want to support the show and of course get our hands on an official doll plush. But besides her origins, why would people want this in the first place? After the years and years of MD fans coming and going, one thing was clear. Doll was in every episode. I'm not just talking about, oh, she wasn't in 8, or maybe she wasn't in the first one. Okay, tell me why I was just looking for, like, the episode 1 thumbnail, right? Just to download it to put in this, like, editing this video. There was a different thumbnail for the pilot? Since when? No, she's in all 8 episodes. Aboda, someone... I'm gonna be honest, I don't interact with this person a lot. I don't really know him that great. He had pointed out the fact that she had shown up in every single episode. Now, if a character who isn't part of the main cast gets thrown into every episode, people will become fond of this character. Not to mention the lore of this character itself. Doll went through some serious things as a character, and I can give you a short lore lesson.
Doll's parents got killed by V after her mother Yeva told her about the patch, prompting Doll to find it on her own, and then the solver took place after she witnessed her parents' death. She was forced to eat workers, also trying to lure Lizzie into framing her friend V for the murders, and then Doll ended up trying to kill V in the process. This backfires and Doll ends up trying to help Uzi only if she splits up with the Murder Drones, but fails at this too. She tries to get the keybook from Uzi, makes a deal with Sinessa off-screen to team up and destroy the solver for good, but then fails and ends up trying to kill V in the end, which she fails at that too. Doll then dies from a FNAF jump scare and then shows up in episode 8 as a reminder that she's dead, and her last words in episode 7 were fight back to Uzi.
Oh my gosh. Doll's tragic storyline leads fans of hers to sympathize towards this character and try to convince people that she deserved more. But this is just how it's been written. People may argue that she was thrown away or she had so much potential, but to be honest, she was just the victim to show what could have happened to Uzi if she hadn't beaten the solver. Most people would refer to her as a plot device, but she gives Uzi motivation to push past Sin in the end and destroy her. Doll has also made a keychain, a shirt, and a pin made out of her. The same things that our main cast has, but this time with some figurines and sometimes more clothing. Doll is also considered a secondary antagonist, which accompanies Jay in that realm. And guess who has a plush? Doll had less than 10 minutes of screen time! Recently, a buddy of mine, you might know him, Ranks, had made a video or short making a great point on why Glitch isn't making her a plush. People who look at the show from an outside perspective don't deem characters or secondary antagonists plush or merchandise worthy. If companies really wanted to make money, they'd focus on making merch out of the main characters, which are obviously more marketable. For example, how many times have you seen a Stitch plushie from the movie Lilo and Stitch? Okay, great. Now, how many times have you seen a Nani plushie? By the way, that's Lilo's older sister. She's a great character with a great storyline, however, she's not marketed near as much as these two people. A company like Glitch needs this money to grow themselves, and making a doll plush isn't going to cut it. A character who also wasn't heavily focused on will also not make the cut for this. Doll's story was never the peak of the storyline. If you don't look super deep into the lore of Doll, you wouldn't understand how much of an intriguing character she is. Looking at Glitch as if it was a company with one watch and done audiences, Doll kind of sucks. However, this isn't the case for this company. We're all just weird teenagers goofing around, some older, some younger. But Glitch looks at itself as a competitor of Disney, which it's been compared to multiple times. Of course, a doll plush wouldn't hurt, but it wouldn't be the most responsible choice for them. We've talked a lot about the flaws in Doll's character today. How about we talk about how they could have fixed her? Now, I'm trying to be reasonable. I'm not a big Doll fan, but to the people who are, Привет, pupsik. That means, hi baby girl in Russian, there you go. I'm no writer unless you include Wattpad, but here's what they could have done differently. Doll could have been more easily explained. Her backstory with V and her parents dying is clear, but how she knew about the key bug before Uzi is another. She vaguely said in episode 3,
Если я найду то, что ищу, то и тебе помогу. What? Извини.
But later on, we see her stalking Uzi with the key bug, and then episode 5, she breaks in, steals the key bug for some unknown reason. Then in the same episode, she's giving it to Sinessa. This confused me. In episode 5, we could have gotten A plot, the Manor flashback, minor A being N and Crow Uzi, minor B being Tessa and Jay, and then on Copper 9 being plot B, being Uzi in the real world and Doll in the real world, making that deal with Sinessa. Who knows, she might have known Sinessa before episode 5. I'm thinking she might have known her episode 4, looking after the key bug and trying to make that deal. They could have juggled all these plots easily to extend the episode not only, but give episode 5 what it really needed. We would get a clearer view on Doll communicating and meeting with Sinessa, and with Jay as well, and what she was basically trying to obtain, which would be the patch, if she knew about it, because we don't know. Tessa, with quotation marks, and Doll both didn't like the solver, so why not show them rebelling against it? After that, Uzi, N, and V randomly show up in front of the other three, for no reason, just randomly. Doll sees that Sinessa is teaming up with the disassembly drones, she heads off with a key bug, and she runs away. Understandable. She's scared of the disassembly drones, whatever. She later tries to kill the whole group by faking her death and then taking the key bug to unlock the elevator and the doors to the Sentinels, which doesn't kill anybody except if you include V in that, which her sacrifices doesn't mean anything in episode 8. Then she talks to Tessa and dies, and then walks to Uzi to tell her to fight back. Now that I'm starting to think, because Doll knew that Tessa understood her, and she's Russian, from the very beginning of the deal, what if Doll knew that Sin was Tessa, or Tessa was Sin the whole time? Sure, it's fine how it is, but a more in-depth version of the story would be great to see. Secondly, how she knew about the patch before anyone else, or at least the plan of going down the elevator and into the cabin fever labs. They might have been able to nudge that into when Uzi goes into Doll's room in the gap of episode 3 and 4 for oil. Doll would then go up to Uzi and explain the solver to her and what exactly it would do so that she could be prepared. Also spilling the secrets about the patch and everything else skeptically. This would, however, destroy the exploration of the cabin fever labs and the friendship angst between Uzi and Doll. This makes me think, was Doll even meant to be thought of this critically? She's a decent character with a lot of off-screen moments, like a side antagonist should be. She shares this spot with Jay, and if Jay gets a plush, why doesn't she get one? Well, Doll to most people is seen interacting with more side characters than main. She was best friends with Lizzie primarily, and fought and won with side characters for food. The only time she fully shined was maybe at prom, and then in episode 6, and maybe 5 with Uzi? I don't know, man. She doesn't have much impact on characters either. Jay, on one hand, sends off the relationship between N and Uzi by hurting N and prompting Uzi to fix him. She also has way more dialogue and past with these characters, while Doll has none of these characteristics. Sure, she triggers the prom dance and the sacrifice that means nothing now, but Doll is never magnified in these moments. Jay also has a very marketable view, where she's a character with a very different and perky personality. She's English as well, which makes ad drops more accessible and easier to make. Jay is also centered around the branding business, so you know what I'm saying? Doll is left mysterious and less known about, and not in the way that we see Uzi. Doll was a character with potential, however this potential that she would have technically had would kill off the mystery of the show and wouldn't make it that intriguing. She was a side antagonist for a reason, and mostly made for theories for young teenagers who like theorizing about shows. She's better off without the different ways of fixing her plot, and better off where people can theorize about her and make headcanons, which is what the show is made for. Doll is a character who isn't the best marketing option, and she's also more associated with side characters than main ones. She also isn't magnified in important scenes that she is the cause of. Even though she was a side antagonist with Jay, she was interesting, but not enough to market off of. I'm not saying that we would never get a Doll plush, I'm just saying it's highly unlikely and would not only be unprofessional, but sort of dumb for the company's marketing and money. I'm all for a Doll plush, however, these are just the reasons why I wouldn't see it happening fully, especially if the Volume 3 soundtrack of Murder Drones is the last merch drop we'll ever get of the show. I don't think that would really happen. To give you Doll Frantics hope for the future, here's why she might become a plush. She dies in episode 7, so that might give us hope that she might be in the album cover, and we might get a plushie of her. Also, Glitch is very good at recognizing their fans, and being the company that they are, they might do it even though it's irresponsible. I'm excited to see if Glitch will prove me wrong, but those are my theories about the infamous Doll plush. Have a good day or night depending on where you live. Thank you so much for watching, and toodles. If I don't upload after this in like 5 years or so, it's because CapCut got banned, and that's the only editing software I know how to use. And if it looks goofy the next time you see me, that's because I'm using DaVinci and I don't know what's going on. But yeah, if this video goes crazy and Glitch actually comes out with a Doll plush, I will buy it, and I will show it with it in my hands. I will show myself holding the Doll plush. If it happens. I think Sinessa's gonna get a figurine though, so count your days, guys. Count your days.